Welcome back once again to this Beefcast production, taking you back all the way to Assembly Winter 2012, Round of 4, the semifinals, Game 3 here in this TVZ matchup. The score is 1-1. Both of these players going to be trying to get the next two wins in this best of 5. So in the right here, the Red Zerg, a star from Team FX Open Esports, one of the teammates of one of the Zerg superstars right now, Lenok. He is FXO.Lucky. And in the bottom left, the player formerly known as Optimus Prime, the winner of the GSL Super Tournament, and one of the best Terrans in the world, he is TSL.Polt. So like I had mentioned, Lenok, actually one of the teammates of our Zerg over here, and it's interesting to see the way that strategies actually develop between teammates. You'll often hear that Slayers, renowned for their Terrans, they will actually have very, very similar strategies, whether it's Boxer or MMA or Tasia or Ganzi. Tasia and Ganzi actually aren't with the team anymore. But all these Terrans, they just end up having very similar strategies. They're often worked on by all the members of the team house at the same time. And it's also interesting to see the way that prominent players have an effect on the rest of the players of that race. And that last game that we saw, the highly upgraded Zergling Infester into Ultra style, is something that appears to have been popularized heavily by Stefano. Stefano with his strong... Oh, man. It's a little bit interesting right here. We actually do see a fast command center right now. The drone can be able to spot that immediately. We'll see how the Zerg chooses to react. We do see a gas on 16 immediately. That is standard for the same as the last two games right here. But we'll see if the Zerg chooses to do any kind of early aggression as a result of that. Something like a Baneling bust is kind of standard practice if you do spot a really early command center on the low ground over here. You might not even need a Baneling bust. You might just have some really early speed Zerglings over there that are going to be able to do a lot of damage if the Protoss... Terran! Come on, if I say enough races, eventually I'll get the right one. Is that correct? I think that's how it works. If you're not able to get a bunker on that low ground fast enough, Zerglings might be able to do just enough damage. Unfortunately, with not taking that spawning pool until after the gas, the Zerglings aren't going to be able to get there with speed fast enough, most likely, to be able to do any damage with this. That fast expand is very standard for Zerg, but it does not lend itself very well to early aggression. And at the same time, we do see what we would call kind of like a Maka Rax. Maka Rax referring to any kind of a Rax that's in a non-standard location, almost like it's trying to be hidden. Oftentimes you'll see something like this right here float down right there just to get a slightly faster timing for any kind of 2-rax aggression. Gone out of style a little bit, has the 2-rax. But anyway, back to what I was saying. With Stefano being one of the world's best Zergs right now, and probably almost unanimously agreed as the world's best foreign Zerg right now, a lot of Zergs have really imitated him, and he's really kind of shifted the metagame in PvZ to almost exclusively heavily upgraded Zergling and Infester. The Mutalisk metagame, the Mutaling Bling metagame, almost exclusively gone, and Ultralisks making a resurgence, a lot in part due to Stefano really popularizing their use again, saying, hey, if you're going to upgrade your Zerglings, which is a really good way to go about this matchup, you might as well get Ultralisks because those make use of them, and Ultralisks along with Infestors are really good. You see a lot of Zergs playing that way these days, and we saw that Lucky, our FXO Zerg here, was playing the same way last game as well. So we did see that our Terran player was able to get out a substantial number of Marines. Come on, I'm getting the races, I'm getting the units all confused. What is with me? Anyway, with 8 Marines holding the front line right here, there's absolutely no way that any insignificant number of Zerglings could come through. But at the same time, we do see that the early Baneling nest does come down along with a third gas. This is something... Oh no, second gas. See, he tricked me. By taking one gas at each of the locations here, by dropping a scan at either one or getting a scout right here, he might think if he sees this one, he's going to say, oh, he's going to be on 3 gas because he's already taken 2 in his main, which would be standard. And he's going to be like, okay, that's probably going to be something like early upgrades. But if he scans the top, he's going to say, oh, he's probably only on 1 gas. So taking 2 right here, nice way to do a little bit of a mind game with your opponent. With the Baneling Nest finishing up right here, we'll go ahead and see if he's going to be able to morph any offensive Zerglings. And there it is, 22 Zerglings all at the same time. This is going to be an attempted Baneling bust here. With the bunker and a secondary bunker in the back, I think Polt's going to have no problem at all holding this. The problem is, though, that he's just started morphing 2 reactors, and these reactors aren't going to be able to start pumping Marines for another 25 seconds here. And the first Marines aren't going to be out for another 40 seconds from now. And these Banelings are morphing right now. And I don't think that there's going to be enough Marines stemming out right now. But at the same time, with little groups of multiple units here, 2 bunkers, I think that Polt's done a fantastic job of preparing himself. And this is not going to work. There's almost no possible way that I can see this working. Polt being so bold as to even drop a command center behind this, but Banelings are going to come crashing in here, wipe out the first bunker. The second bunker is going to be, oh no, and actually detonating a Baneling into the command center right there. The Banelings do want to connect on some of these SCVs, but Marauders are actually going to be stuffing the gap right there, and Banelings do not want to explode on Marauders. And Baneling's actually doing a very good job of making it to the base, but Polt doing a nice job with his splits, and Zerglings are actually going to be able to get up there. Oh my gosh. SCVs being having to pull off the line, but there are literally only 6 Marines going on right now. SCVs being able to effectively stop this, but Banelings being morphed on the bottom of the hill down here. Marauder's going to go to work shooting down these Banelings from the top of the hill. The bottom ground has been forced to be evacuated. This command center will likely have to be canceled as it's not quite done to force liftoff yet. But these Zerglings need to clean up these Marauders, and they're actually going to leave. Oh, very nice job from Polt right here, luring those Zerglings into the Marines that were on the high ground. Let's take a look here. Workers killed only 11. So out of all that, from having to, let's see if I can remember my other buttons. Worker supply at 38, so a 6th lead right now for our Zerg, but the Zerg is going to actually continue at this point, trying to go in with the Zergling Baneling. With the factory being built here on the low ground, something that I would highly disagree with. If you know that your opponent's trying to go for a Baneling bust, I don't know why you would try to build your tech structures, your valuable tech structures here on the low ground. Banelings are going to be able to try to get in on these Marauders, but Marauders take so many hits from Baneling to get killed. It's not what you want to use them on, and he needs these Zerglings to be able to tank. Marauders doing a very good job of getting their backs to a wall over here, getting the supporting fire from the Marines, and Lucky's going to back out right now because he knows there's absolutely no way that he's going to be able to get in there as it stands. But no, he's going back in. The Zerglings are going to be able to get in there. They are going to be able to get decent surface area on those Marauders. Managed to take 1 out. He's losing way too many units trying to get that to happen. It's wise of him not to try to force up that ramp right now. I would not think that he's going to be able to try to get up there. That is absolutely suicide. There's no way that he's going to be able to do enough damage right there. There's way too many units up there. Polt splitting is much too good for this. And yeah, I think that if Lucky had just contained that bottom ground, he would have been able to pull out of this pretty well. But he is pretty all in right now. He's expanding behind it, but he's only at 36 drones at home. He's taking his 3rd gas right now, but no lair tech in sight. Almost all of that gas has been spent on Banelings, and he's wisely retreating. But at this point, he's pretty far behind. Not really that much damage done. Only 14 workers killed. But let's take a look at the resources lost. If I can find that. Units lost tab. And the Zerg has lost about 6,000 as opposed to 4,000. Not very efficient trades right there. A lot of these high value structures haven't been targeted. Medevac's going to be able to get out here and heal up the rest of the units, and the tech advantage is very highly in the favor of our Terran player right now. Back home, we do see 8 more Banelings being morphed up, something that you really don't want to do unless you have to. Banelings are going to be used in a defensive manner. There's absolutely no way that the Zerg is going to go offensive at this point. But that's really not gas that you want to be having to use into Banelings unless you absolutely have to. +1 armor is going to be started right now, and Lair has just finished, so we'll see the infestation pit coming down right now. It's right next to the second evolution chamber, which will be starting +1 attack at any moment. Zergling very smartly coming in here to check the army composition, managed to check that out. Make sure that there's not a third down. He did see that there was a third command center, morphed into an orbital. So you can see Polt's actually feeling pretty damn confident at this point, saying, hey, I don't even need to make that into a planetary. And Lucky pretty shaken. He's been at the supply block for at least 10 seconds right now. Not something that you want to see from a top level Zerg. Missing injects. This queen's all the way up at 50 energy. Missed a full inject at this point. And the Terran's actually going to be able to prevent this Ling run by down here, starting 1-1 at home. And with stimmed Marines onto these Banelings, this game's going to be over pretty damn soon. Medevacs are just going to be able to heal up the stims from these Marines. And, the Marines actually not doing a good job of splitting right now. They're actually going to kite pretty effectively with those stims. Nice job with the target fire here, but still going to take losses that he doesn't really want to take. And maybe I was preemptively calling this game was over a little bit too soon. Infestors aren't out yet, but the Marines are going to be doing a pretty good job and be able to target fire down those Banelings and then recollapse right back on that. That's how you want to see it. You want to see Marines coming out splitting, and then as soon as the Banelings are dead, you want to see them all collapse back onto the Zerglings, minimize the surface area that they're going to be able to get, all get in one little clump, preferably with your back up against a wall, minimize the surface area so that those Lings are doing minimal damage and maximizing the efficiency of your medevacs. Pathogen Gland's going to be starting right now, along with +1 attack. Going to be finishing pretty soon, +1 armor already finished, but back at home, siege tank production has started. Siege mode is already done. The third is floating over right now. That orbital is going to be able to start dropping mules from all these. Going to be dropping 4 mules to begin with, and there's going to be pretty explosive economy coming from our Terran. For our Zerg, there's just not enough saturation. Only 62 drones on 3 bases. Not exactly optimal. You want 16 workers on each of those mineral lines and 3 in each gas. So that's 22 per base. You want 66. That's optimal saturation. And above that, you can apply up to 8 additional drones at each base before you start wasting drones. So if you're able to get 66, great. You're not losing any money at that point. If you're putting 40 drones on one base, that's bad. You've got 10 drones at that point that are doing absolutely nothing. Anything above 30 is completely wasted. But if you have some bases that aren't at 22 yet, and some bases that are above 22, you want to equalize that. Because there's some diminishing returns after you hit 22 drones. Because those 16 drones on the mineral line aren't going to be able to mine as effectively. We do see Zerglings going to be moving up here into this Marine Ball. Not a very effective use of those Zerglings. Going to lose 6 of them, it looks like. And you want to be able to use those in conjunction with your Infestors. Zerglings on their own are really just fodder at this point to 1-1 Marines. The fungals are really where the bulk of the damage is going to be coming from. With the siege tank sieged up here on the low ground, it's going to be very difficult for our Terran to break this. He's going to be dropping a couple of infested Terran over there, and siege tanks are actually going to kill that one siege tank. Very nice job from our Zerg player. I think he only probably needed 2 infested Terran because the Marines did not do any target firing, and that's a little bit of a slip up from Polt. But very good job nonetheless. We actually see back here that Polt's done a very good job of securing his choke between his natural and his third, with a couple of siege tanks, a bunker, and some Marines, making sure that runbacks are not going to be an issue. At the same time, taking down the rocks to the third over here, but in come the Lings crashing onto the siege tank. Want to get right next to the siege tanks, but the siege tanks are very wisely putting some fire into the infestors. But beautiful fungals coming out. Fungals are going to be hitting all 4 of those medevacs at the same time. The Zerglings are going to be able to get onto the second group of Marines, but the infestors have to fall back. They're a little bit low on energy. Only about 5 fungals left, and the next 2 siege tanks are going to be coming up. Great job of the Terran not losing his medevacs right there. With 1 fungal hitting all 4 of those medevacs, the possibility that he was going to lose some was pretty high right there. Nice fungal. Once again, the siege tank could be providing covering fire and able to get a couple of those Marines out there, but putting more and more damage, wasting the energy on these medevacs. You can see they're all very low. 2 of them coming in new, but 8 infestors being produced at the same time as Hive Tech for the Zerg. The Zerg doing a very good job of macroing behind this. And Lucky is actually looking in a relatively decent position right now. If he can get a favorable engagement, try to get it around from the behind right here. There's only 2 siege tanks sieged up. A third is there, but it's not sieged. And his infestor count is very high. 14 infestors. All of them have at least one fungal, with the exception of that guy. That stinky infester. We're going to call him Ivan Infester, just like he's from the Soviet Union. Some kind of communist with the Zerglings are going to be crashing in right here. Infested Terran's going to be sent out to try to soak up some of the Siege Tank damage. Siege Tank's not going to be able to get fire onto the infestors before they're able to get a beautiful fungus onto the Marines. The Zerglings are going to be able to get in there, but the Zergling count is dwindling right now. Not going to be able to clean up the rest of these Marines. Actually, he is. I take that back. It feels really nice to have my foot in my mouth. And the only thing escaping for the Terran right there is going to be 2 medevacs, 2 more over here, 3 more actually, in the natural. Polt kind of sloppy right now, needs to be evacuating these medevacs. Each one of them represents a pretty substantial part of his army, and those are really the units that you don't want to lose. Having to use a couple of fungals right here to get the last 2 of these. That one is going to escape. There's another one up here that neither player appears to have noticed quite yet. But we do see the Greater Spire actually on the way right now, in addition to Corruptors. So we're going to be seeing about 8 Broodlords come out soon. And Polt has not caught wind of this yet. Let's go ahead and take a look. And oh man, looks like all the way mined out right now. There's going to be a Zergling chasing down that Overlord. I wonder if there was some kind of drop. It honestly looks like there might have been a drop here. Or maybe he just built everything on the low ground, but I don't think there was. In fact, I'm almost confident that there wasn't, but we'll see. And I'm a little bit surprised that Polt hasn't been doing any more drop play. Interesting. Anyway, being here on MLG Antigua Shipyard, there is no gold right here on these mineral patches, so that is nice for the Zerg. With being able to rapidly expand and hold this gold with the Planetary Fortress, there was a bit of an imbalance there with having gold, so those were removed for all tournament versions of this map, and hopefully they'll be removed eventually everywhere else as well on the latter versions. But with these Broodlords, they're going to be able to very effectively siege this up. The Marine count is relatively low, only, no, not really that low. 64 is pretty. It's not going to be enough to deal with this amount of infestors and broodlings, given that the Zerg engages at a decent angle. But the Viking production has started, and without a sufficient corruptor and infestor account, those Vikings will be able to prove a problem, but the Zerg is simply not going to give him time. He's going to start sieging up onto this natural, taking out those mules, and the SCV is going to be able to wisely get onto the backside of this planetary and try to start repairing that, but they actually look like they're actually going to go back in and start mining. I don't understand that. But here we do see the siege tanks are going to be able to start sieging up this main, and there's going to be an elevator of forces in there. This is how you have to play against Broodlords. Broodlords is a heavily immobile composition. And because of that, you do need to exploit the mobility of your army. That means constantly dropping, using those medevacs to get to locations that they shouldn't be able to get. But these corruptors are going to be able to get in here onto these medevacs and take out the medevacs. These Zerglings are going to clean up the ground forces. Will they? Looks like the Marines are going to barely clean that up. So we got about 6 low Marines down here. They're going to be able to clean up a couple of drones and maybe even snipe an infestor or 2. But infestors, with their natural 2 armor, very strong. They're going for the spawning pool over here, but not exactly going to happen. We do see a doom drop loading up, going into the main over here. Going to stop probably to take out this base as well, but the drop in the third right now. Now we see the drops coming out of Polt. Going to be able to very effectively take out that that third hatchery. All those Marines are going to be lost. Very nice fungals and cleanup, but look at this doom drop right into the base. It's going to be able to take out the hive. They're going to be able to take out the spawning pool. That's going to limit the production from a Zerg player to nothing but gas-intensive units, and look at that. He's got a ton of gas, but no minerals at this point. The Infestor's going to be able to get in there. Look at all this energy on the Infestor. That's beautiful. That's what you want to see as a Zerg, is you want to see as much energy as you possibly can, but what you don't want to see is your Broodlords literally running all over the map, just trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do. At this point, the Corruptor numbers are pretty low. Even going to almost lose 1 Corruptor there. They're 2 a Marine, but with the time that the Terran's been buying here, he's been able to get his Viking count up to 6. And once you get to about 6 or 8, the Vikings are going to become very effective against these slow-moving Broodlords. With their 9 range, they're going to be able to outrange the Corruptors, outrange the fungal growths, and they're going to be able to do a lot of damage with the Broodlords with good micro, good positioning, and the Broodlords are going to be very susceptible. So right now the Zerg's actually only on, well, I don't know, like 1 mining base, kinda. He's got like 60 drones long distance mining from his third, just pretty much one mining base, I'd say. But both of the mining bases have been effectively eliminated with the mine out here and the killing right here and right here. Once again, this doom drop of 3 full medevacts worth of Marines going to be able to go into the main. The Broodlords are going to continue sieging up this planetary fortress. There is going to be a flank set up from this location over here. The Marines actually going to just walk right on by, probably go for the third. SCV is going to be able to continue just cleaning up anything the Broodlords send at them. Once again, 8 Broodlords back here, but they're naked. They have nothing covering them right now. Terran exploiting the mobility of his army, going to be able to take down the Greater Spire, takes down the infestation pit, and there's no production buildings left for the Zerg whatsoever. He's not going to be able to produce anything except for hatcheries at this point. He's lost absolutely everything. And with the Terran being on 4 bases right now, 2 of them still mining, I don't see the Zerg finishing this up. Even with the excellent army composition that he has of Broodlord Infestor Corruptor with no production left, even if he kills this army, there's no way that he's going to be able to sustain the army for long enough to outkill the Terran. Outkill? Yeah, that's a pretty terrible word, but... the third is finally back up, not mining gas quite yet, but we do see about 60 drones, 50 drones mining right here. So, like I said, anything above 30 with gas is bad. So that right there with 24 is maximum saturation on those 8 mineral patches. So he's got about twice the amount of maximum drones there. Not exactly what you want. It would actually be better to have 20 of those drones long distance mining from over here. That would actually be more income. But right now he can't really devote that. And once again, there's going to be another hit squad of Marines coming up here. Corruptors are going to be able to take out these Vikings. Nice fungals from the Infestors. But even having a couple of drones in here, a lot of drones, even building a hatchery up top, and I think this is Lucky just being a little bit upset, not wanting to really give up at this point. Dropping infested Terran all over this command center, but these SCVs are going to be able to repair that back up. The Broodlords are going to be coming in to try to put some damage in, but blowing all of his energy on infested Terran. I think he really just wants to take out this command center, and then after that he'll probably GG. Back home, the third lost every single one of its drones. And down goes the hatchery there. Now no hatcheries left other than this manor hatchery, or in this case, bad manor hatchery, here in the middle of the base. And at this point, it is getting a little bit bad manor. Being on no bases, the Zerg should have GG'd by this point. And yeah, we're just going to kind of wait until Lucky has his fun, engages with his army, and then see what happens. As I said, he did pull his combat drones over here, so he is going to be able to start mining from one of these bases. Unfortunately for him, they're not gold, so it's not going to be that effective to mine from a base this far away, but mining will start here in a second. He did go ahead and do what Destiny would call a Brofester hit squad over here onto its orbital command, taking out the Terran's 5th. The 4th, like we saw, was already taken out. And this roving hit squad of Marines is going to be searching for another base down here and then patrolling between these 3 bases. Excellent job using units to make sure that the Zerg isn't taking any bases. This is something that not enough players do. He's going to have this Marine patrolling through here and here. We did see another Marine doing the exact same thing between these 3 bases earlier. And great job. Marine's going to walk right into that fungal. Beautiful fungal. Going to be able to take out all those Marines with just one fungal. Nicely done. And we do actually see that the Zerg has resumed mining. He's out of Broodlords, or excuse me, Overlords. He's supply blocked at this point, but he's going to start building up here on the high ground. So with the Terran being essentially mined out over here, and the Zerg actually having a decent bank, maybe the Zerg is still in this. Maybe I wrote Lucky off too soon once again. With all these infested Terran coming down right now, the Broodlords are going to be able to engage with a little bit of a buffer. The fungal growths do go down on these Marines, but there are just too many Vikings, too many Thors, and all those Broodlords are going to get cleaned up, and this is GG. With nothing but Queens and Infestors versus this kind of an army, it's just not going to happen. GG comes out from our friend Lucky the Terran, and Polt takes game 3, putting him up 2-1 in this series, and we're going on to game 4. So, once again, I have been your casting host, Beef. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to be going on to Game 4 in just a moment. But, as usual, I am still very new at casting, and I would appreciate any comments that get left on the YouTube page. Please help me become a better caster. I want to do that not just so I can become a better caster for myself, but because all of you out there want to watch the best cast that you can watch. And if I'm not that person, then you're going to be watching somebody else. And I want you watching me because I want you to listen to me and be my friends. So if you want to be my friend, leave me a comment. Teach me how to be a better caster. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. What can I improve on? I will read each and every single one of them and reply to any of them that are commenting on the casts. So probably all of them. But thank you again, and we'll be right back with Game 4.